Welcome to the online class offered by the Department of Botany, Marthoma College, Chandra. I am Elizabeth Joy. In this session, we will discuss in detail about the various cultivation techniques of anthurium. In Kerala, we are all familiar with anthurium because it is widely cultivated in our place. Many people cultivate it for their own ornamentation purposes, like in the homestead, and some others cultivate it in a commercial way so that these can be exported to other countries. These plants are widely in use in various parts of the world, and a large part of it is being exported from our place. These are normally used for flower arrangements, like for cut flower industry, as dry flowers and fresh flowers. We will see in detail various features of the plant and also what are the important techniques which are required for cultivating the plants in a more elaborate and effective way. This plant is also known as the flamingo flower or the tail flower. This peculiarity is in the flower which resembles the flamingo bird. This belongs to the plant family known as Araceae, in which the various yams, colocasia, etc. belong. These are mostly herbaceous plants which are found as epiphytes native to tropical America and includes more than 100 genera and over 3,000 species. These plants are having specialities in their spathe and spadix. The spathe is a modified bract. It is actually a leaf which is colored and protects the spadix, which is the place where the flowers are fixed. So this is a structure, this is a cone-shaped structure which holds the flowers of the plant. The bract is conspicuously colored into red, yellow, pink, white, etc. And the flowering stalk is slender and ends in a fleshy column crowded with flowers. It is cultivated in pots, trenches or on the ground for the attractive flowers and the flowering bracts actually. And the foliage are also used in the cut flower industry. So both the flowers and the leaves are used for the cut flower industry. It's also used for bouquet making, various flower arrangements, and also producing dry flowers. So this is the detailed diagrammatic view and also the view of the plant, which explains the various parts of the plant which we just mentioned now. So this is the whole plant. We have the leaves, you can see the stem here, and you can also see the reddish roots just beside the stem. The flower bud can easily be seen here. So the final growth is in this part, and the flower, what we call actually is not a flower. This is actually a leaf which is colored. So this leaf, it is seen just below the flowers, inflorescence, flower stalk. So this is known as the bract. So this bract in this group, Araceae, is variously colored and variously shaped. And especially this is seen in anthurium, where we can see it as bright colored, normally green, pink, red, white, violet, etc. These days, new hybrid varieties are also created, which have other colors like blue, violet, magenta, etc. So this plant has got a colored leaf-like structure just below the flower stalk. It is the spathe. So this is the most attractive part of this flower. And this is the flowering stalk, and the stalk bears small dot-like structures, which is actually the flowers. So this flower stalk is known as, the tip of the flower stalk is known as the spadix, and the leaf-like structure is known as the spathe. So the spathe is actually meant to protect the flower. So this is seen in the the flower stalk or the spadix is protected by the spade. So this is the enlarged view of the flower, where we can see that the male and female flowers are distinctly arranged on the stalk, and these projections are actually the flowers of this plant. So we have the roots, stem, there are stipules which are seen in association with the leaves. The leaves are also variously arranged or having various designs and shapes and colors, and these are also used for the cut flower industry. So this is the whole plant. The most widely known form of anthurium is a herbaceous perennial form with clustered, long-stemmed, heart-shaped flowers, and these flowers come in a multitude of colors. That is what we explained just now. And technically speaking, these are not flowers, these are actually the bracts or the leaves. In Kerala, we often cultivate this plant in various sheds or under shady trees, because this plant does not need much sunlight, or direct sunlight is actually harmful for the plant. So we normally grow this in sheds. We cover the sides and also the top part with various net or various coverings, and we cultivate them. Large-scale producers grow it in trenches and under shade houses, and these are normally epiphytes which require various cultivation techniques for efficient growth. The picture shows the cultivation techniques using shade houses and also two arrangements, cut flower arrangements of anthurium flowers. The best growth and flowering of anthuriums depend on several factors like light, humidity, watering, potting, fertilizers, etc. We will see each one in detail. The first and foremost feature or component which determines the luxuriant growth of anthurium is the light. Light is a very important factor for the efficient growth of anthurium. As we mentioned earlier, lower light levels are favorable for anthurium. Okay, as it produces longer peduncles and larger space. That is, the flowers will be more attractive and larger when lower light levels are provided. Excessive light leads to bleaching of the leaves, especially at the center, and also the tips get darkened. This causes the lessening of the commercial value of the plant and will not be accepted by the exporters. The number of flowers will also reduce if more intensity of light is falling on the plant, and finally more leaves will be produced rather than the flowers. So it reduces the flower formation, and overall we can say that this lessens the commercial value of the plant. So as far as a commercial producer is concerned, they will be looking for the maximum number of flowers, maximum product yield when compared to the new resources they are providing. So we can say that it is best to grow these in shade houses, where we cover the top part and also the sides so that direct sunlight does not reach the plant. The second and another important factor is watering and humidity. This plant requires high humidity for luxuriant growth, and this is evident from their natural habitat. The natural habitat, we have said that earlier itself, it is the native of tropical American countries, and in this place it is provided with high humidity. So this tropical and subtropical nature of the anthuriums, because they need high amount of water content. So high humidity and moist media are the most important characters. So for this we have to ensure frequent watering, especially in summers. Misting can be an effective way, that is we can spray water in fine dispensers so that the whole plant will be getting water. And there should also be sufficient intervals between watering, because time should be given for water to get absorbed or evaporated, so that over flooding will not be taking place. Overwatering can lead to root damage and also yellowing of the leaves. Next one is the medium of growth. Anthuriums are grown in the ground, trenches, and also in pots. Potted anthurium are better grown in coarse and well-drained growing medium. This is because this plant is basically epiphytic, and drained growing media is required for its roots to grow better. Media other than soil are also used for this purpose. Wood shaving, coconut pith, broken bricks, charcoal, coarse sand, sawdust, coconut husk, paddy husk, peat moss, orchid bark, etc. are also commonly used. So in Kerala we normally use charcoal, brick pieces and pieces of coconut husk. This medium helps to retain sufficient moisture and provides aeration to the plant roots when they are grown in pots or trenches. So when growing in trenches, we dig the trench and place this growing medium into it, and then plant the anthurium. So this is an important feature or resource which is required for growing anthurium in a more luxuriant and effective manner. The most ideal medium facilitates the plant to penetrate its roots. So the medium should allow the roots to grow more strongly and to help it to penetrate more effectively and firmly into the medium, and this helps to fix the plants firmly and grow into a healthy plant. It should also maintain sufficient amount of moisture, nutrients and aeration should be provided to the roots. The plants can be cultivated in pots or vessels where the problem of waterlogging exists. That is, in places where frequent flooding occurs, the plants can be grown in pots or vessels, and these can be transported to a higher place where waterlogging will not be a problem. Another important thing to be noted is manuring. The growing and tending processes of anthurium is much similar to that of orchids. So, like orchids, slow release fertilizers are the best ones for cultivating anthurium because this fast releasing fertilizers will cause damage to the roots. There should be frequent manuring to facilitate the availability of nutrients, because the medium is porous and there are more chances of leaching. So in order to ensure the effective growth of the roots, we are providing with a porous growing medium. So the porous growing medium has a disadvantage that the nutrients or the fertilizers added to it will easily be leaching off. So in such a condition, required amount of nutrients or fertilizers should be provided so that this loss is compensated. 1 to 2% of solution of NPK fertilizers supplemented with magnesium sulfate is to be applied rather once in a week will be an effective dose. Nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus, calcium, etc. are found to have significant influence in improving the quality of the plant growth and also facilitates the production of larger and beautiful flowers. So, efficient nutrients should be provided to these plants so that they are growing luxuriantly and also providing better flowers. These are three species of anthurium: Anthurium crystallinum, Anthurium clarinervium and Anthurium superbum, and these three varieties are cultivated for their beautiful leaves. So these plants, normally their flowers are not so attractive as the normal anthurium that we see in cut flower industry, but these leaves are very much attractive, and these plants are grown as potted plants or for their leaves for arrangements, flower arrangements, and their leaves are more attractive. All three species are grown for the leaves. Natural manures can also be used for cultivating anthurium, like groundnut cake powder, neem cake powder, bone meal, etc. Normally, these are best applied in the form of pellets because powdered form may cause heavy damage due to the heavy dose it provides. So, it is better to provide them as pellets. Foliar fertilizers can also be applied in light doses. It is can be applied as we do it in orchids. Cattle urine can also be used. It can either be sprayed or provided in the base of the plant. It should also be diluted to a particular level so that it do not cause burning. In large-scale commercial cultivation, ready-to-use fertilizers from the market can be used, and this can be applied as mist irrigation to facilitate the efficient absorption. Commercial micronutrient spray or mist can be applied 2 to 3 times a month for effective growth of the plant. So, with these we can conclude that the plant requires very good manuring, but the manures should not be fast release manures. We have to provide it as low dose manures so that it can be effectively absorbed without causing heavy burning to the plant. Repotting is also to be done because after a luxuriant growth there will be clumping or the bulging of the roots because overgrowth of roots will be there. So we have to repot the plant in between because this clumping will finally result in the lowering of the growth of the plant. So in order to provide good growth, luxuriant growth to the plant, it should be frequently repotted. And while repotting, one thing is to be noted is that the medium should be provided. The same medium should be provided while we are repotting the plant. Another important thing to be noted is the diseases and pests which are occurring to this plant. This plant is highly susceptible to many pests and diseases. Bacterial infections, fungal infections, and nematode attacks are common in this. Bacterial infections include soft rot, Xanthomonas blight, etc. And a common bacterial disease is the Anthurium blight, which is one of the major diseases affecting this plant. This is a systemic disease, and only thing we can do is we can destroy the plant which is affected completely, and we can isolate it from the other plants, and so that it does not affect the other plants. One thing can be done is quarantine to the plants. That is, the plants which are brought from abroad or from other places can be quarantined, can be checked for such diseases. And if they are found to possess such diseases, they can be destroyed completely. And only if they are found to be free from such infections, they can be planted along with the others. Another important group of infections is fungal infection. It includes anthracnose, Phytophthora leaf spot, flower blight, root rot, etc. Nematode infections or attacks are also common. The insects and the nematodes are causing much trouble to these plants, like the other plants of orchid also. Burrowing nematode is the one which burrows the roots and gets into the plant and infects it. Foliar nematode affects the leaves and causes infections in the leaves. Mealybugs, mites, shore flies, white flies, etc. cause much damage to the plants. So one thing we can ensure to minimize such infections is that we can keep the plant and the planting area, the pot and the region around the plant clean from all forms of dry leaves or such unnecessary components. We can clean the plant and its surroundings and ensure that such infections do not take place. These are the images showing the infections, various infections. The first one shows Anthurium blight leaf spots, where small spots are seen on the leaves and slowly they start spreading to other parts also. Anthurium blight can also be found in extensive way, where leaves are damaged in larger parts. Anthurium blight also causes damage in the stem, where the stem starts drying and the section of the stem shows the dried stem and also a normal stem. Anthurium thrips damage the flower by they cause damage while it is bud itself, and when the flower opens it will be not attractive and showing much damage. Anthurium thrips also damage the buds of the plant, and it causes much loss, commercial loss to the grower. It can also damage the foliage leaves, which affects both the commercial value and also the photosynthetic activity of the plant, and thus the growth is affected and flower production is also reduced. Next is the propagation of Anthurium plants. It can either be propagated through seeds or vegetative methods. Seeds can be propagated easily, but it is a lengthy process, so mostly people do not go for it. But if we have to provide new hybrid varieties, we have to artificially carry out the pollination between the required varieties and bring about a seed, a hybrid seed, which can be planted to produce a specific plant which we require with a specific character. The plant propagated through seeds may take around 3 years to bloom, and it is a long period as far as the commercial production is concerned. After pollination, it may take 7 to 8 months to produce the fruit and the mature seeds in it, and it takes around 3 years for it to get flowered and form a mature plant. These are various hybrid varieties and normally growing varieties of Anthurium from Hawaii Islands and also from Netherlands. Other varieties are seen in our country. These are the ones from those places, which are, some of them are hybrids and some of them are natural varieties of Anthurium. Next form of propagation is cutting. It is for obtaining identical copy of the parent plant. It is a common vegetative propagation method, and it is commonly done by topping. Here the plant is grown till a few roots are developed from the stem top, and then after the roots are formed, the top part is cut and it is grown into a separate plant. This process can be repeated and we can obtain large number of plants from the same parental plant, and the mature stem can be placed on the other side in damp propagating medium to encourage the production of new shoots. Bud culture is also another important. This is a tissue culture technique where the buds are isolated and cultured in tissue culture medium. MS medium is an example for such a medium where these buds can be used for raising new plants. The developed shoots can be used for generating multiple shoots. That is, the buds grow in this medium, tissue culture medium. It forms small shoots, and these shoots can be isolated and grown in a separate medium to grow the roots, and this can be finally transplanted into the sterile medium and finally to the soil. This process can also be repeated to generate multiple shoots, and these multiple shoots can be separated from each other and grown into plants. So from a single bud itself we can get thousands or hundreds of plants, and this is a very effective way as far as commercial production of Anthurium is concerned. Another important tissue culture technique is callus culture. So callus is a mass of cells which are formed from cell division. So from this mass, small shoots will arise, and this can also be grown and in a separated fashion and form into young plants. So the explant, it can be a part of the stem or the leaf. It is placed on the tissue culture medium, and the cell starts dividing, and from these cells small shoots arise, and it can be cultivated. Anthurium plants can be regenerated from these. This callus can also be used for producing somatic embryos, that is, embryos which are formed from normal cells. Usually embryos are formed from zygotic cells where parental gametes fuse and the zygote is formed. But in tissue culture we can produce embryos from normal somatic cells, normal cells of the plant body, and Such embryos can also be used for producing young plants. So this technique is also used for producing young plants, which is also, the plants will be similar to the normal plants that we obtain from vegetative propagation or through seed propagation. So all these plants can be raised in, first can be raised in a controlled condition and then can be taken to the field. Next is we have seen the various tending or techniques of cultivating the anthurium plants. We have seen how we can propagate the plant, we can grow the plant, and next is how we can tend the plant flowers after harvesting them. The most important feature required for anthurium and other cut flowers is the maximum vase life. So the maximum time the flower is kept in the vase or can be kept in the arrangement is the more commercial value for the plant, and the cultivators and the exporters take many steps to ensure this, that is most the maximum life of the plant or the flower in the vase. So normally anthurium plants have a vase life of 3 to 4 weeks, and if it is properly tended we can extend it up to 5 weeks also. The flowers commonly come across bacterial contamination in the cut end. So when we cut the plant, the cut end will show small bacterial infection, and this can be prevented by placing the cut flower into sodium hypochlorite solution, which is a sterilizing agent which prevents the infection caused by bacteria. Deionized water, silver nitrate solution, etc. can also be used in this manner to enhance the shelf life of the flower. In some places, the whole flowers are placed in carnauba wax, which is a natural wax, for ensuring maximum shelf life to the plant, vase life to the plant. And after placing the flower in the wax, the cut ends are kept in water to increase the life of these plants. Normally, the flowers are harvested while the bud is just opening, because if we are harvesting completely opened plants, by the time it is marketed and it reaches the person for using, the plant might have dried off. So in order to ensure the correct stage of flower in the flower arrangement stage, the plants are harvested or the flowers are harvested at the time of the bud opening or just as the bud opens. So these are the various preservation techniques of anthurium. Single flowers are covered in polythene sheets and stored, and these are kept straight inside a tray before they are packed, and each single flower is packed in polythene sheet. So this is a flower industry where we can see that various varieties of anthurium is kept, and these are kept in antibiotic or sterilizing solutions so that the infections are prevented, and after placing them in such solutions they are packed in such polythene sheets and trays and marketed. So this is also a method of placing the cut ends of the plants in sterilizing solutions. In some places the flower heads are first soaked in water and then misted and covered using plastic sheets. That is what we saw just now. This is a very effective technique which is followed for many of the cut flowers like lilies, carnations, rose, etc. Especially in dry conditions, we provide such a packing so that the flowers do not get dry. Some people dip the flowers in fruit waxes so that it stays fresh for a longer time. So to conclude this session, we can say that anthurium is a widely popular plant in cut flower industry and also for decorative purposes, and it is a widely exported plant from Kerala, where Kerala is having a tropical climate, and it provides an efficient climatic condition for growing such anthurium and also orchid. And due to this reason, many people cultivate anthurium and they export it to other countries. The temperate countries like the US and the UK are not are not able to grow these plants successfully. That is why they are being exported from such tropical countries like India. So this is a highly priced industry, and these are various techniques we have discussed for ensuring proper growth and care of the plant, and these are the various uses of anthurium, and also the various techniques by which we can effectively grow a good anthurium plant. Hope you have understood this session. Thank you.